Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Man Sports Fan Podcast. I'm your Schultz. I'm your host, Philip Arthur Schultz, on this beautiful Monday night. Here with Chris Smith 9, the D4 respondent, Hato, that Wisconsin couple, From Dog Millionaire, and roster two guards, the Flame, back from Maine. Boys, how are you guys doing?
Loving it. Glad we're here.
Couldn't be fantastic.
Got the whole crew. We're good.
Oh,
We are back. We are getting Doug back.
Yep. The starting five has returned.
We're all ready.
I like that.
This is what we wanted. The starting five has returned. That's good. Yeah, I keep telling people about our podcast, and I say the name, and they just laugh at me. Is that happening to you guys?
No, I've actually had a couple of people at the bowling alley come up to me and tell me that they've listened to the episodes of this. I'm like, holy cow! All right, let's go.
Let's go. That's amazing.
Wow.
And then they complimented each of us. So how much
Every
you
single
liked
one
us.
of us individually. Yep.
That's
I
what I
didn't
thought
want
they would do.
to take up so much time giving the breakdown of what he told me, but it was high praise to everybody.
We all need to hear that. So, but we all need to hear that.
That's
All right.
fantastic.
Tons of sports. Favorite thing that you watched outside of either the Badgers or the Pack this past weekend or even this past week?
Favorite thing I watched. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched a lot.
You're a good father. It's good.
I know. I'm a family man. I've caught. I think the baseball highlights. I haven't watched all the games, but you guys got me tuned into Cleveland Yankees. The 9th and 10th inning. That stuff is amazing. Playoff baseball. I think hopefully rallied. Some people, some fans. And now we're gonna talk about it later. But Yankees Dodgers. I'm excited for World Series here.
Yeah, for me, I've been waiting for a long time to get this back. NASCAR, we're 4 races away from the championship. This week was the first race of the final round prior to the championship. So basically like your championship series. And we had an upset winner. Joey Logano won and locked himself into the championship race, which will happen in Phoenix. And I will be there with Phil Smith. So it's going to be a good time in 3 weeks.
Anybody else? Any other sports?
Oh yeah, that Lions Vikings game was pretty sick. I mean, Jared Goff almost perfect again. Sam Darnold matching him basically with the one pick. Gibbs went off. Aaron Jones had himself a nice little game. That was a sweet NFC North matchup that did not disappoint.
This is how much of a diehard you know that I am when I'm watching preseason NBA basketball. Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
watched three of the 4 Bucks NBA preseason games. The fourth one wasn't worth watching because nobody played. But NBA season starts tomorrow.
Let's go. Yeah, for me, it was game 3 of the Lynx versus the Liberty. And that was awesome. I didn't watch all of it, but I saw a lot of the second half, especially the last quarter. It was awesome, man. Just fun to watch. And just unexpectedly fun.
The ending of that series was absolutely brutal, though.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit.
We might get there. Yeah.
Man, I was watching the Wisconsin Badger football game, which was glorious. And there were so many good names on the team. I just had to ask you, what is your favorite name? When you're watching, and again, I know a lot of us don't watch that closely, but is there a name where you hear it, you're like, oh, that's funny? Or that's my guy?
There's so many on this roster.
Sorry. I was just checking the names here again, but our punter's name is Atticus, and that just sounds like a Roman soldier. I'm just thinking of like
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Come on, yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Finch. Come on.
Okay.
But Roman. Yeah, sounds awesome. Yeah. Totally.
Friend must not have read that book in high school.
I hope none of my high school English teachers are listening. I skimmed every book in high school. I cliff noted,
Spark notes,
and yes, all the way. I didn't read. I just took it.
Who has not read To Kill a Mockingbird? Raise your hand. Okay.
Jeez,
It's almost
guys.
all of us. I mean, okay. You should read that book. It's a pretty
I should probably
important
read a lot
book
of
in
books,
American
for
literature.
real.
But that's fair. There's a lot of literature out there.
Oh, boy.
Chris, as the Badgers season ticket holder, what's your favorite name?
I do love Nazir Forkerween. I don't even know how to say it correctly. And either does any announcer for any game. It's an incredible
What does he
name,
play? What's his position?
though. A linebacker. Or no, corner. Not linebacker. He's corner.
Yeah, I just heard the name Sebastian Cheeks,
That was
and
mine.
it just is good. Is that yours? Yeah. I mean, there's just whenever you hear the name Cheeks at the end, like I think Maurice Cheeks, everybody knows the basketball coach. You're like, okay, that's funny, but for whatever reason, Sebastian Cheeks. So I wonder if anybody calls him Seabass Cheeks or I don't know. There's just different ways you could go there. So
We have a graduate coach on the staff whose name is Tough Borland.
Let's go.
it's Wisconsin all
TUF.
the way.
I mean, that's pretty freaking good.
That is.
Does he still?
Giddy-
Is Ches Malusi still playing?
He's not a bad
Kind
anymore,
of.
right?
He's on
Kind
the
of.
roster, but he is not on the team right now. Like, not
Okay.
playing.
It took a while for me to figure out that his name was Ches and not Chaz. And
Sure.
I was honestly really disappointed when it wasn't Chaz because I just wanted to, quote Wedding Crashers all the time and Chaz Reinhold. And yeah, I guess you can see where my mind's at.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's naming their baby Chaz. If anybody's still doing that.
Not in this day and age.
Hopefully.
It's either, we had this conversation about the name Cheryl. Is anybody naming their kids Cheryl? Nickname Sherry or
That's a tough one too.
maybe it'll come back eventually. We know it will. All right, this is the final question before we get to other sports and really good sponsors. Can't wait for it today. Friend or foe, nuts and desserts. Friend or foe, nuts and desserts.
Kids, 3 kids. I love nuts. Love nuts all the way. We have a nut allergy in the family, so we do not have any nuts anymore. I'm done. Done with nuts.
Sad. Dude, if you go to a chiropractor, go into a 3-year plan, you could get rid of that allergy. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, it's anaphylactic for your kid. I don't think you can get rid of it.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to ask you how you've realized that.
Wow.
I'm just going with the
Wow.
4-year-old. Get the chiropractor. Like, here we go. We'll adjust you. We'll do this.
I've just heard the stories. So, okay. Maddie?
Can you only do the nuts have to be in the dessert, or can the nuts be the dessert themselves?
No.
Or vice versa.
Well, I mean, for people that are having
that's
nuts
more
as
of a
desserts.
That's
Yeah.
questionable.
I mean, have you never had heavenly roasted nuts at a ballpark?
So good.
Yeah, Chris and I indulge when we go to the ballpark.
Okay.
We do that.
That's not where I went with the question, but okay. That makes sense.
The nuts.
So my answer is 100% yes, especially when the nuts are the dessert. I used to work for Heavenly Roasted Nuts as a sophomore and a junior in high school at Miller Park.
Wow.
Safe to say it was one of the better short-term jobs that I've ever had, for sure.
I did not know that. It's huge.
That's a fun little fact there. I'm all for it, man. Like almonds and ice cream, so good. Walnuts and ice cream, so good. Peanuts.
Cashews.
Yeah, I'm not
Walnuts
the
and
I don't.
chocolate.
The cashew's a little too soft for me. Although the peanut's pretty soft too. But an almond, oof. Chocolate covered almond. Come on.
Before Chris
Pecans.
answers, I feel like me and Chris are going to align. Chris?
If I can see the nuts on top, I know it's there. I'm good with it. If I don't need a mystery. I don't need to bite into a brownie and not know if there's nuts or not.
That's on you.
But sometimes you just don't know.
Are you just
Don't
picking
you
up
ask?
random brownies without asking any questions?
It's like peanut butter. I don't need the nuts in the peanut butter. You
There we
know?
go.
Yeah, I
Give me
feel
the
like if I
creamy
cut into
peanut
a
butter.
pan of if I cut into a pan of brownies and I see there's nuts in there, I am disappointed. So
Yeah.
if it's on there, you're right. I kind of respect it more versus this, mystery. You don't want to eat something and be like, oh, wait, that's in there? So as you can see, this is personal for me. I say no almost exclusively. Although honey roasted nuts are like insanely good. So that was a curveball I didn't expect, Gardner, and I'm thankful for it. But yeah, otherwise I'm a no. Ice cream, no. Brownies, cookies, no. So, well,
Ooh.
that's a good segue though, right? Our first sponsor today is Nutty by Nature Desserts. Welcome to Nutty by Nature Desserts. where we take sweets to a whole new level by adding a handful of mouth-watering nuts to every treat. Why stick with the ordinary when you can elevate your desserts with our walnut wonderful brownies or almond-infused cupcakes? We believe that nuts don't just enhance flavors, they transform every bite into a delightful experience. Whether you're craving our pecan pie that's truly nutty, or our cashew cream puffs, prepare for a flavor explosion that'll have you asking, why is it taking me so, I almost made it, to experience these delicious nuts? Let that sink in. Swing by today and let's make your dessert dreams delightfully nutty. Really excited about that sponsor. Really excited by Nutty by Nature. It's so good. All right. That's a good segue, right? I feel like we could say the Green Bay Packers have been nuts lately. How about them Packers, right? Beautiful win for 24-22 against the Texans. Let's go, Brandon. What a great game for us all. What was the most unexpected thing about the game for you? Like, what was most unexpected as you're watching it, you're experiencing it?
Yeah, I predicted it to be a one-score field goal game, win by a field goal. Before we signed McManus, I had us losing by a field goal. As soon as we signed McManus, then my prediction I made with a colleague of mine was we would win by a field goal. I mean, it went kind of to the script for me, I guess, for the outcome. The fact that we limited Stroud to such, I don't know what the final number was. He was under 100 yards for a lot of the game.
86 yards.
Was it 86 yards was final? So I think that's incredible to me. Their offense is a juggernaut. I get it. Nico Collins is on the IR. Obviously, that limits what they can do on offense. But you still have Diggs. You still have Dell. Dell did absolutely nothing. They still have good tight ends. They still have Mixon. It was incredible the amount of pressure we gave Stroud over and over again with our blitz packages or even just our front line. Just really outstanding defensive effort. And I think Stroud was never comfortable back there. Mixon definitely, did some damage on the ground, but our turnovers, I think, put them in position to score. So the fact that Stroud could never get going and he had 86 yards, that's incredible. I consider Stroud to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. And the fact that we just bottled him up and limited him all day I think that is hopefully something to come because our division's loaded and we need to limit people in the passing game, especially in our division. So hopefully that is a good sign to come.
So I got to give some love to Wayne Larrabee and Larry McCarron on the call on Packers radio. So I was out of town over the weekend and was mountain biking at Levis Mound in Neillsville, Wisconsin. If anybody's ever been Neill's,
but anyway, sorry.
It's pronounced Levis. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's okay. So I was out of town biking through a part of the first half and listened to the rest of the game on the radio, and they are just still fantastic after all these years. So it was particularly enjoyable to listen to them on the radio once again, and not really follow the game on my phone or anything like that or on the TV. It was kind of cool actually. But shout outs to them. They're awesome.
Yeah, I miss that being in Colorado, man. It's Badger Packer games when they're called. It's just different. I miss that. What about you, Hayden?
Packers radio app. Download the Packer radio app, Phil.
That's fair. Technology.
I was on the same wavelengths here as Brian with just shutting down Stroud. I thought that was pretty impressive, but I will say, since he covered that, a little shocked at the special teams mistakes. Like the one big one that we let him in there. So was Keyshawn Nixon not the returner on that play? I can't remember. But I feel like that would have been a mistake that he would have not made. But I think he was
Keyshawn Nixon was the one that let the ball hit.
But it didn't
He's the one that let the ball hit on the first one, and it hit Ballantyne, but he let it drop to the ground.
Sure. So it just kind of seemed like hopefully just a fluke, and it's a nice fluke to have in a win. But that was a little nerve-wracking. So I'll just leave it at I'll take one silly mistake for a game, and hopefully we're done with it.
Yeah, for me, you guys talked about a little bit of it, but honestly, it's Romeo Doubs, man. So he has that issue a couple weeks ago. Last week, comes out and scores 2 touchdowns. This week, 10 targets, 8 catches, 94 yards. I mean, clearly there was a plan to get him involved. and this is a couple weeks in a row. So now we have another weapon that we can probably consistently count on for the rest of the year. We know Jordan Love loves to spread the ball around. So it's just great to see guys getting involved and him, whatever happened with him, it's kind of just over and he's doing his thing. So that was good to see. So kind of unexpected, but also just good. We like it.
Yeah, I think for me, we're on the pass rush suffocating CJ Stroud, what you guys have talked about, or Brian did. That was unbelievable. I did not expect that, and makes me really excited about what we could do against other really good quarterbacks. I'm curious to see what they do. But I think for me, it's Jordan Love doing his best impression of Brett Favre. It's not that we didn't see some of these things before, but I think we just saw it so much more this game. The interception with Watson, right? If it's the pass to Tucker Kraft, man, I didn't expect that. And it's so fun. It's like so awesome to watch. Sometimes you're like, gosh, what are you doing? But I also don't mind you giving Christian Watson a chance to go up and make a play. I'm kind of for it. You have Rodgers, the tactician, the meticulous, don't really take that many risks, kind of just not that many interceptions, that kind of thing. I just thought Jordan Love doing some of those things. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it may hurt us, but man, I just didn't expect that level because we didn't see that much last year, except for really the final play against the 49ers. We just didn't see it that much. So yeah, definitely unexpected. Defensive MVP of the game for you. Who is the defensive standout for you in the game?
Yeah, I think Wilson's an obvious one. There's so many guys you could highlight here.
You're going to say Eric Wilson, though?
I don't know if I want to go. I'm gonna go with our guy that has just been showing up in one of the best offseason free agent signings, Xavier McKinney. I just think even seeing the sack happen and just seeing how he's ball hawking the secondary right there. There's so many guys you could pick. Just looking through the defensive stat sheet, it's just incredible. I'll go Xavier McKinney just because I think he brings a lot of leadership right now to this defense, and I think he's bringing a mojo to this defense, and I think he's scary right now. I think it's scary to throw, into our secondary with him back there.
I am gonna say Eric Wilson because I think he's the nominee for the player who just randomly blacked out during the game and just had an awesome game. 6 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 sacks, a pass defensed, and man, where did he come from?
I'm gonna go Jair Alexander. I mean, he shut down Stephon Diggs. He got him riled up before kickoff even happened. He set a tone early, and when he talks his shit, he backs. Sorry for cussing. When he talks, he backs it up, and it's fun to watch when he does. And I don't know if he was ever guarding Tank Dell or not, but he didn't catch a ball on 4 attempts. So, I mean, he did drop a wide open touchdown, but I say Jair Alexander.
I'll go Evan Williams. That play he made on the goal line when the Texans were at the 2-yard line, and he just ran through the line and tackled that guy for a loss. And it was such a big play in the game. In a game you only win by 2 points, so may not stand out. I mean, he had actually a pretty decent stat line, but amongst some of the other guys you're talking about, probably doesn't stand out. But that play was ginormous in terms of the grand scheme of winning the game.
That's such a good call, Chris. That highlight was amazing. He just blows up Mixon. Such a good call.
So good.
Yeah, you guys took my top 3. So I'll go 4. For me, it's Rashawn Gary. And here's the thing. Rashawn Gary's not had a good year. He's disappeared at times. He looks undermatched at times. And the one sec he got, the offensive tackle fell down. So that actually wasn't the play for me. He just was relentless in pressure all game. And I got to give him credit because it feels like a lot of people around Green Bay or, when you read Packers news stuff, it's about the disappointment of Rashawn Gary. And he put together a very, very good game, and he caused a lot of problems. And again, they're rushing 4, right? There are times they're blitzed a lot, especially in the second half, doing stuff with Edgerrin Cooper and Eric Wilson. That was just impressive. But Rashawn Gary was consistent even when there was 4 rushing. So overall, I think maybe some of the best defense we've ever seen the Packers play, considering that most of the points they got were starting at the 11-yard line. I mean, just an impressive performance. And this isn't on here, but can you remember us playing a better defensive game than what we saw against the Texans?
Not in recent memory, no.
No.
And that playoff game against the Cowboys recently was pretty good, too.
It's probably high up there.
Especially the first half, but maybe not the whole game.
The scary thing is you take away the turnovers in this game, and you got to wonder, like, how much did the Texans score? I mean, they couldn't move the ball down the field. Our turnovers put them in position to score.
Yeah. We'll just kind of do this if you have a thought about Jordan Love. Like, what are you loving about his game? What are you loving about Love right now?
Guy doesn't seem to spiral. He makes an interception, another interception, not afraid to take risks right now. Kind of I think got this Brett Favre mojo going here with the Aaron Rodgers accuracy right now, and just he's slinging it, and he seems confident and comfortable. May throw a couple picks in a game, but just keeps it moving. Kind of Patrick Mahomes-esque a little bit. You know, if anyone pays attention to Mahomes right now, statistically he's pretty ugly, but he's winning football games. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I think, I jumped ahead of there. Go ahead,
You're good. For me, it's the aggressiveness. Like taking point 15 seconds left, and really all you need is, a 5 or 6 yard gain. And here he is chucking a pass to Wicks in the end zone, which if he had threw a better ball would have been completed and would have been a touchdown to win the game. But yeah, he just continues to stay aggressive. And I think that's what I appreciate the most about him.
I think he stays so calm and so cool in any situation. Like he's surrounded in the pocket in the end zone and is almost like he's cool with taking a sack. And then he's just like, oh shoot, there's people around me. Let me step up 2 yards and not get a safety for us. And then just pops right back up and continues to play. I mean, it's like they say that Joe Burrow has like this condition where like his heart rate, like he's very good at monitoring his heart rate and it doesn't rise in hectic situations, and it seems like Jordan Love has that as well. It's pretty impressive.
I think you guys took most of my points, so I just want to quote a great band called The Format, who was ahead of their time, and one of their songs, I might be misquoting this, but it basically goes, I love Love, I love Jordan Love, I don't care what he does to me. Gosh, Jordan Love is the man. He's poised. He does remind me of Brett Favre, which is just all the better. So, yes, I love Jordan Love.
I'm just going to end it on that note. That was beautiful. Raise your hand if you do not think the Pack are a Super Bowl contender. Raise your hand if you don't think they are. Am I the only one?
Phil.
Okay. This will be the final. And you guys can rebut me if you want. I'm totally down for that.
Yuck.
I just think we make too many mistakes. And I think it's going to take us one more year. I just think of those deep balls that Jordan Love puts up, that one to Wicks at the end of the game. That could have been intercepted by the Texans' safety, had been played different. And so I think, I don't know. I just think of the mistake against San Francisco, and I hope that we don't go to that kind of situation again. But we've just made a lot of mistakes in big games. And granted, we've almost won some of those games, just like we did the Texans game this week. But I think that bites us. I think it bites us, which I hate to say. Does anybody want to rebut me? Speak against me?
Defense wins championships. Our defense plays like this, and I think there's endless possibilities here. If we can shut down the Lions, if we can, I think we've already proved we can play the Vikings close here. I think the Lions is a big, big test for us because offensively, you could argue they are the best offensive team in football right now. If we can limit, I'll say the Lions, because I think like Caden said, they're cruising right now with hardly any incompletions. But that's going to be the test. I think if we can play ball with them, we can play ball with anyone.
All right, we'll leave it there. Feel free to comment. Or let's say it. You want to say one thing?
Yeah, I just don't like that you don't think they're contenders. Not even contenders, like you don't even think that they have a chance to go through the playoffs and at least make the Super Bowl?
Oh, I think they have a chance to go to the playoffs. I think they'll go to the playoffs. I just don't know if this is the year of the Super Bowl. And maybe I just watch the Lions and they're so put together and they don't make mistakes. Goff has like one incompletion in 3 games, or a couple incompletions in a couple games. Like, they're just not making those kinds of bad plays that we are. And like, we've made up for it, that kind of thing. But I just don't think we'll win the Super Bowl this year. I think if I had to bet on it, I would bet we don't make it to the Super Bowl. So, do I hope so? Yes. I'm a huge Packers fan. I'm just trying to be objective here. Well, when I went on my rant, let's go to Frem with his rant.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a rant here.
Tell us about what you want to tell us about.
Are you tired of holding back your sports opinions like we are here with Philip Schultz? A referee rants. We believe every fan deserves a voice. Join our lively community where passionate fans from all over vent about the latest calls, the wildest plays, and the most outrageous penalties with weekly podcasts, live chats, and a forum for heated debates like here. You'll find your tribe in no time. Plus, submit your best rants for a chance to be featured on our show. Sign up today and turn your sports frustrations into fun. Because at Referee Rants, we're always ready to throw a flag on bad officiating. And throw a flag on you,
community. Phil. Yeah.
Is this like a meet and greet?
I can imagine there's there's got to be a convention at some point.
There should be.
Yeah, they need a chance to meet and talk about referees. It makes a lot of sense.
Online forum.
So, I want to insert this quick. I think at some point we need to do top 5 favorite referees or least favorite. Not sure.
Ad hoc,
Umpires included.
Sure.
It'll be tough to top this week's top 5, but we'll see. We'll get there. Hey, let's talk about the Wisconsin Badgers. Won 23-3 against Northwestern. It was at Northwestern. Kind of a trap game a little bit just before playing Penn State here at home. Pretty complete game by Bucky. You were impressed with what? With blank.
Yeah, I think your defense, I'm just going to, talk about defense tonight. I think this defense is something to contend with right now, looking around the Big Ten and looking at how their teams are matching up right now. I think this defense could be fun and give us a shot. I know, Chris had the prediction of us beating Penn State before, and who knows? I'm a bit more optimistic now, just seeing what our defense is doing, seeing that we're just committed to the run right now. Locke seems to be a bit more locked in. We seem to have our identity back, and this is Badger football. It's fun.
I will defer to you guys because I did not watch the game. So Hayden, go right ahead.
Thank you for your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the game either. I was deer hunting, and I saw some deer in the woods, and it was an absolutely beautiful day.
That's a Wisconsin activity, so we're okay with it.
I shot a squirrel out of a tree on Saturday, so that was my activity. Yeah.
Good activity.
My grandma would kill squirrels by putting a bucket with water, filling it up to seed, putting a little plank up to it, and they would just scurry up.
Brutal.
My grandma's kind of badass. Yeah. Good job, Grandma.
I was most impressed with the fact that we won by 20 at Northwestern, not a place that we traditionally play well at. I know we were playing on the lake, and it wasn't a true home game for Northwestern. But we won by 20 on the road, and we didn't even play well. Honestly, we made a lot of mistakes. Like, if we play that game against Penn State, there's no chance we win. So it was a nice little... the performance itself was good in terms of going on the road. But again, got to clean up some mistakes, kind of like you're talking about with the Packers. And also, we haven't talked about this on the podcast, but ever since we've turned the calendar to October, it's been Locktober, and Braden Locke is the man, and I'll save it. He's going to beat Penn State on Saturday, though. Good. There's something going on right now that, I think this vibe coming up at Camp Randall on Saturday is going to be the most anticipated game in a long time, even more than Alabama, because no one thought we had a chance against them. Night game against Penn State on a 3-game winning streak. I think, like I said, something's going to happen here, and the Fickle era is about to begin.
For me, impressed with Tawi Walker. And I feel like we just had so many good running backs at Wisconsin. And so, we've had Ches Malusa there a little bit, and we've seen some good ones under the Fickle era, but nothing dominant, nothing consistently amazing, kind of what we've had. Tawi Walker has 418 yards in October. He has 6 touchdowns in October. He's constantly falling forward. He has great feet. I think that's what I've been so impressed. This is the first game I watched in total all the way. Just the little moves in between the tackles to get by arm tackles or to get a couple of yards when there is nothing. That's been so impressive to me. And you're right, it's Locktober, but Tawi Walker, I think he's been such a good running back. And some people think, well, running backs are replaceable, yada yada. But there are players that are special. There are players that are better at the running back position. And he's showing to be a very, very good transfer that we got from Oklahoma. And yeah, I think after Ches Malusi got injured, him coming in, it's just been nonstop. And he's been very dominant.
Well, and he gets better as the game goes on. I think that's the big thing about Walker is like he's not going to bust out these huge runs like Jonathan Taylor did. He's just going to wear you down over the course of a game, and it's great to see. It's kind of like when Braylon Allen was healthy, what he would do to teams.
And now Braylon Allen's a pretty good NFL running back, or at least showing early signs here. All right, Penn State at home, night game next week. Chris, are you going? You selling?
Oh, I'm going. Yeah.
Predictions for the game. Who thinks we win the game? Raise your hand. We win the game. Okay, I'm going to put my hand down. So we have 2. Maddie, Frem, you think we lose?
I think it's a close game. I think this Badger team, asked me a month ago, I would have told you it'd be a blowout. I think we keep it under 10. Maybe a weird 8-point game or something like that. I think we make it respectable, and I think it's kind of an ugly game too. I think we probably keep this some weird 21-13, 20-12, something like that. I think we keep it within distance, and it's kind of a grind out game. I don't think Penn State just rolls us with the points.
I was thinking 28-20.
I'm going to go even closer. I think it's 27-24 Penn State. They win last drive, kick a field goal. And I think it's a very, very good game. They're number 3 in the nation. Granted, there's some preseason ranking in there, but they came back on USC on the road and beat them. And I think USC, we probably beat them now. Maybe again, especially with Locke getting all this experience. But again, I think that'd be close. So I'm going to give the edge to Penn State. Chris Hayden, you have them winning.
Chris just gave me that was a nice Wisconsin pep talk that he gave me. So I'm jumping on his wagon and calling an upset.
Yeah, I just think with how they're playing, and like I said, we haven't had a signature win in a long time. I just think the vibe's going to be different at Camp Randall. We haven't had a night game yet this year either. And so it's just going to change the dynamic. And it's all going to depend on Tawi Walker, like you talked about. If he can get going early, I think we can control the game enough to keep it close. And it's only a 6.5-point spread. So Vegas is obviously thinking there's a chance here too.
It has been fun to watch us play so well. We've given up 16 points total in the last 3 games. And offensively, we've looked so much better. I think we've had around 100 points in that time.
1-16. Yeah.
Should be a good game.
That's pretty nice.
Let's transition to some other NFL. Kaden, did you have a last thought?
No, I was just commenting on how nice the our points to the opposing points differential was.
Yeah, and domination. Let's get to some NFL. There's lots we could talk about. NFL is a week-to-week thing. There's always new storylines coming out. For you, what is the biggest surprise thus far? We're at week 7. It'll be week 8 next week. What's the biggest surprise thus far for you in the NFL?
Yeah, I still think it's the NFC North for me, that we're just stacked. I was talking with some other buddies I grew up with and just debating can we really get 4 teams into the playoffs? It's definitely a realistic possibility if the Bears keep rolling here. I wanted to make my for next segue, I want to make my team the Bears here for the team that has to win just to stay in the playoff line because their division is so competitive. But there's a lot of other headlines here of teams struggling, but just to see the NFC North being this much of a powerhouse, seeing that Lions-Vikings game, like Hayden, highlighted, that was a really great game. So did not see this coming together like this, where we have such a competitive division with 4, really good teams, just great receivers, like Chris has highlighted in the past. We have really good quarterback play in the division right now. So, it's going to be a fun year.
I don't think anybody thought that the Washington Commanders, aka the Commies, were going to be, what are they now? 6-1 or 5-1? Yeah, 6-1 after this week. Are they 5-2?
We lost to Baltimore and Tampa Bay.
That's true. Okay. 5-2. Either way, Daniels goes down and Marcus Mariota looks like the Heisman Trophy the Heisman Trophy winning Marcus Mariota from Oregon. So yeah, whatever Cliff Kingsbury did in Thailand in his year off seems to be paying off so far for the Commies.
Gotta watch out for those commies, but we do love Cliff Bar.
I'm gonna kind of just expand off Matt here, because not just the entire team, I think the offense in general and Jaden Daniels specifically, like, I think people thought he was going to be good. I mean, if he comes back and is not hurt for an extended period of time, I mean, he could have a better rookie year than CJ Stroud had last year. And there are people saying that wasn't going to happen, like, ever again. And he came in and blew it up. I mean, he's got 107 QBR this year. He's got 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns and 2 picks. Their offense has scored 20, 21, 38, 42, 34, 23, and 40. I mean, I don't know if anybody else in the league is putting up points that consistently every single week. It's pretty impressive for a 5-2 record, and I would have picked somebody else, but I did extensive research on the Washington Commanders for this segment.
Respect.
Maybe the first time in your life
that I've
doing
ever
research
done
on the Washington
research.
Commanders.
Absolutely.
Extended research in general.
They're
Don't read.
real quick. They're scoring the third most points per drive since the 99 Rams, the greatest show on turf. The third most points per drive in the NFL since then. The only other teams, obviously, 99 greatest show on turf, and then 07 Patriots. Those are the only other teams that have been better.
I'm just gonna throw a counterpoint out though. Their schedule is a cupcake though. I'm just gonna put that out there. They played the Ravens, sure, but Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. Hanging 40 on them to me is not that much of a deal. The Bengals D has issues. They lost to the Buccaneers. I don't know. I mean, beating the Browns here, 34 points. I get it. They played the Ravens close, but hanging 42 on the Cardinals. To me, it just doesn't seem that impressive. I'll just, in the sense of who they're playing, I get it. The points are valid with how they're performing. I think offensively and how Mariota comes in, like you guys said. But I just question second half slump here. I don't know. This seems maybe too good to be true. The competition seems pretty soft right now.
You have to think though, they were expected to not be good. I mean, they thought Jaden Daniels was going to give them a bump. They were not good last year. They made a huge leap, and I think that they're meeting the ceiling that they potentially could have had. I think that they're hitting it right now. Like, it was like best case scenario, they're doing it right now, but they also could fall off a cliff in the second half as well.
We'll see, because they've got 2 games against the Eagles and 2 games against the Cowboys coming up here.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Big test coming.
For me, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's because I don't think any of us are surprised that they're winning, because Mike Tomlin, like, he's had a winning record every year. He's been a head coach. But, like, just looking back to this last week, Mike Tomlin made a decision that I don't think from many circles was looked at as a good decision. And basically his decision was, I'm going to bench Justin Fields for Russell Wilson. And I think he realized that Justin Fields has a ceiling, and his ceiling is not a great passer. He can move, he can get outside the pocket, he can make plays with his feet. But what we saw last night when the Steelers played the Jets is that Russell can make throws. I mean, we all know he can make those deep throws, but he can make throws that Justin Fields can't, which gives that team a little bit different dynamic on offense and makes them, like, Russell Wilson's great at the play action. It opened up the run. George Pickens got more involved. Like, I just think that's a team you don't want to play the rest of the year. They're 5-2. I could see them potentially winning that division and being a team that you have to go to Pittsburgh in the playoffs and beat, and that's not a great place to be. So very impressed with them, and I'm curious to see how Russell looks moving forward, but he looked pretty darn good in that offense. Sorry, Hayden.
Those, I just want to chime in because it's Russell Wilson and I have to say something. Those deep balls, those 2 deep balls he threw to Pickens were terrible passes. Like, they were 2 yards underthrown, and Pickens is a freak athlete, and he made some pretty good plays. So I'm not disagreeing that he can't throw the deep ball, and I'm not disagreeing that he's not a better passer than Justin Fields, but I don't think you can call it a benching of Justin Fields. I think it's originally it was going to be Russell Wilson. He got hurt. They ran with what they had, but they had to see what Russell Wilson could do. So I think it was more of just like, hey, he's ready to go. We got to give him his time because that was the original plan. But I do think he keeps the job.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Fields didn't get benched, but what surprised me is that they had no packages ready for him. I mean, he truly was the backup. And so it is Russell's team.
Yeah, I'm going to go negative again. I've been negative today. I don't like it. I just can't believe how bad the Jets are. I just didn't expect it. For them to be 2-5 is wild to me. Thought the offense would be a lot better. I'm just going to say some stats for you here. They're 24th in the NFL in points per game, 18.3. Yards a game, they're third, 300. They are only rushing the ball 35% of the time. That's 30th in the NFL. That's actually probably the main problem. You need to give the ball to Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. I don't really understand that. But we know Rodgers is in charge, and he likes to pass it. He likes to check to himself. And I mean, he's been historically pretty good at that. So it makes sense. But I'm surprised how bad they are. And I get firing Salah. I get it. But now your defense looks worse from doing that. And so I'm just shocked at how bad they are. This is a wide open AFC East. This is a wide open AFC. The AFC just isn't that great. And man, they are really, really bad in a bad division. And we'll talk about them a little bit more in a second, but I'm just surprised how bad they are. So with that being said, who needs a win the most this week and why? So who needs to win the most this week and why?
I went back and forth on this. I think you guys have some teams that I agree with coming up here. I picked the Cowboys to have somebody different than you all. I think the NFC, like you said, Phil, is really stacked this year. I think it's going to be really hard to get in the playoffs, so you're going to need 10-plus wins to get in the playoffs in the NFC, even that 7th seed. And Dallas is going to probably need to win that division, but I think it's going to be very hard because of where the Commanders are and how they position themselves. And then you have, obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles that are a powerhouse right there. All the money they put in the DAC, McCarthy being on the hot seat here, they need to go into San Fran and get a victory. San Fran's reeling. Ayuk's out for the year. Still no McCaffrey. I think this is an opportunity here where San Fran's kind of reeling after that KC loss. They're 3-4. You can really put San Fran in a bad spot here against, I would say, one of their historic rivals. I think Dallas needs to get it done here. Because I mean, if you look at a loss here, I think they're going to be dropping to 3-4 and probably.
And I think that the 49ers.
I didn't get that last 2 minutes of.
Yeah, same.
Brian talking. He's frozen on my screen.
All right, take it over, Gardner.
All right, so I think that the 49ers need this more than the Cowboys do. And the 49ers are 3-4. They are absolutely reeling. And it seems like the kind of Super Bowl hangover / they kind of seem like they're this year's hell season team where everybody's getting injured and they almost look like they're not even going to make the playoffs at this point, if they keep it up at this rate. So I think they need this more than the Cowboys do because they're going into their bye after this. And it's a lot better going into the bye at 4-4 than 3-5.
I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they need to keep rolling in order to... I mean, they're pretty much win every single game at this point. And with their schedule coming up, they have. I was just looking at it here. My fault here, fellas. They have Philadelphia, Vegas, and Baltimore. I mean, I think Philadelphia is kind of a fraud right now. Honestly, I don't know how good they are as a football team, so I don't really think a lot of people are scared to play Philadelphia. So if Cincinnati comes in and puts the pedal down and shows the NFL, hey, that those first 5 weeks were truly a fluke, I don't think anybody's going to want to play the Bengals down the stretch.
They're so much better when they have T. Higgins playing. They're honestly so much better when T. Higgins is like playing better than Jamar Chase.
That's the point of the 1-2 punch, right? They double Jamar
sure.
and T goes off, and then they can't do that anymore, and then Jamar kills him.
They really have 3 easy games left: Raiders, Titans, and Browns. Other than that, it is not easy. You, in essence, have 7 games that are tough.
I don't know if a Cincinnati fan will ever call a Browns game easy. I mean, that's a pretty big-time rival. That's a tough division rival to play. So, I mean, granted, they are a much better team on paper, but divisional games don't always pan out like that.
Well, it might be a blessing in disguise with Watson out. That might change the game, actually. So,
Jameis time.
If Jameis is starting, that game's going to be interesting. So,
I still remember to this day when Phil came over to my apartment in Lake Mills to watch Florida State playing the national title game, and he called Jameis Jameis, and I still remember it to this day.
I did do that. I thought that's how you pronounce it. I swear that's how I heard them pronounce it.
Oh, yes.
But
I'm never going to forget that.
Crab legs.
I might start calling him that again.
I still do. I still call him Jameis. I can't get it out of my head. I've called him that his entire NFL career.
I love that.
I love that
so much.
Ooh, double. My team, shout out Gardner for calling out the greatest show on turf earlier. So I will take the team formerly known as the St. Louis Rams. They have a big game at home against Minnesota on Thursday night. They are 2-5, or are they 2-4? Bad radio. They are 2-4. If they lose, they go to 2-5. And I don't know in the NFC, talking about how good they are, if they can dig out of that hole and make the playoffs. They are getting Cooper Kupp back on Thursday, which is huge. And Kyron Williams, all he does is score touchdowns. He scored in, I believe, 11 straight games, something like that. So I think this is a good time to play the Vikings, coming off the Vikings loss to the Lions. And like I said, after that, the Rams have Seattle, Miami, New England. So those are very winnable games as well. So if the Rams can win this week, I think they go on a little bit of a roll and get over 500 pretty soon.
The problem with the Rams is SoFi is not a home field advantage. And I don't know what you do to make it that, but it's not home field advantage for them. That's the only issue. There could be just as many Vikings fans as Ram fans in that stadium, which I don't know why people would keep rooting for them based on their history, but they do, unfortunately.
That's the same thing for the Vegas Raiders nowadays, where Vegas is basically where everybody goes to watch a football game and go gamble for a weekend.
Yep. So that's a good pick. For me, I'm just going to go back. I think it's the Jets. If they want any shot to try to make the playoffs,
can't let it
this
go.
Has to be it. I can't. They are playing at New England. If they cannot win at New England this week, I think it's over. I don't think they have a chance. I mean, they have a chance at the playoffs, but I just don't think they could rally to win 9 in a row or whatever they would need to do that. So this has to be the week for them. Speaking of the Jets, if you had to put a bet on it, do you think they make the playoffs? Raise your hand if you think they make the playoffs this year. I'm going to say yes, too.
Wow.
I think they win this week.
Now?
They just love A-Rod, man.
I feel like they have to go 8-2 or 7-3 all the way out from here to get to 9 or 10 wins. And I just don't see it.
Yeah, their defense is so bad, especially against the run. It's a sieve.
I'm going to say in a bad AFC, they make it 9-8.
Yeah, they could still technically win the division.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even still, like the Dolphins are bad.
Yeah,
The Dolphins are bad. The
what,
Patriots
just the
are bad.
Bills?
Like,
I mean, it's the Bills, right? I mean, I don't think they're gonna. That would be far fetched, but I mean, it's still a possibility. And
they should have beat the Bills.
What I want to know is, does Rodgers win this week, and then does he have some sort of another monumental sentence that he says to some news reporter? RELAX. Does he have another relax moment in him? Can he run the table? Is there something that he puts out as a headline and comes through again and does it? It'd be crazy.
Or he gets
Wouldn't
injured.
it be just great?
That was dark.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be great if they lost again, and then afterwards on the McAfee show he says, yeah, it just kind of didn't work out this year. I think I'm going to ask for a trade.
God, that'd be crazy.
That's a good segue. How many of you think A-Rod plays next year? Raise your hand if you think he plays next year. If you had to bet.
Now that he's got Adams, I say absolutely.
I'm going to say yes, especially because this year has gone so poorly. And maybe me and Hayden are just riding the Aaron Rodgers coattails. I think being in New York is by far the worst possible place for him with the media. It is just relentless.
Got to reunite.
Too soon.
That would be epic.
Oh my God. Literally too soon.
Got to complete the circle.
Man, I think we need a little jolt here. Hayden.
Oh, I got us for a jolt here. Another beautiful sponsor of the podcast here we have is Brewed Awakening Coffee. Is your coffee game as strong as your team? At Brewed Awakening, we believe that every championship deserves a champion brew. Our coffee blends are crafted to fuel your passion for sports and life. Try our Victory Vanilla for a smooth start to your day, or drive into overtime espresso for an extra kick when you need it most. And don't forget our seasonal flavors that celebrate every game day. Join our loyalty program for exclusive perks and free refills on game day. Start your day right and elevate your mornings, because at Brewed Awakenings, every sip is a win. God,
nailed it.
So good. Thanks.
That's a winning program.
That's the loyalty program. The loyalty program just got me a little bit.
It gets me too in a different way, It gets me too in a different way. Yeah. Well, let's move from football. I've talked a lot of football, which has been glorious. I think we love the NFL so much. We love the Green Bay Packers. We love the Badgers. We have some baseball going on. A classic World Series here: Dodgers versus Yankees. I think the one MLB wants. I don't know if the nation wants it. Some probably do, some don't. But who are you pulling for and why?
I'm pulling for a 7-game series. That's what I'm pulling for. I don't honestly know if I have a dog in this race. I kind of like to see them both lose in the national stage. So 7-game series, I want to see somebody win, bottom of ninth. That's what I want to see. I'll leave it at that. I don't really care who wins.
I will never, ever pull for the New York Yankees. So any team but the New York Yankees sounds good to me.
So the Dodgers for Maddie.
So your pick. So Guards is picking the Dodgers.
Go Dodgers.
Man, a last second thought just popped into my head here. Like, I want to pick the Dodgers because Ohtani, is awesome, right? But then at the same time, I sit and think about Mike Trout and how this is exactly what he should have done in his career, and he never did. And I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm going to pick the Yankees. I'll pick the Yankees because I think they hit the ball better.
Yeah, I was trying to research when the last time we had a World Series with the two MVPs in it. And I don't know the answer to that, but it'd be interesting to find out. Everyone hates on Dodgers-Yankees World Series. They haven't played in the World Series since 1981. So it's been a long time. This will be great for ratings. Baseball, as I mentioned last episode, it needs a jolt. People are going to watch and tune in, which is good. Give me the Dodgers. I want to see Shohei win it for personal reasons. And I just think they have more likable players. So I love Mookie Betts. It's one of my favorite players of all time.
Chris, could you describe that personal reason you're talking about on the air?
None of your damn business,
really,
Phil, and I thank you to stay out of my personal affairs.
I just would like to thank a future partner in Tops for potentially being that reason.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, for me, it's the Yankees, which I can't believe I'm saying. I thought I would never say that. But I want the Judge to win I want him to win a World Series. And I really just cannot stand the Dodgers because they somehow could get away with paying Shohei Ohtani $700 million after he's done playing. That still makes me so mad. It's technically $680 million. It's so dumb. I hate it on so many levels. It just gives them such an advantage that pretty much most teams can't do. I like Ohtani, but I want to go Yankees. They haven't been good since 2009. They haven't been good for a long time. The evil empire bit is kind of like the Mets spend more than them. The Dodgers spend way more than them. I think the Mets have. I think they have. Cohen, the mad genius over there.
I like Juan Soto a lot.
Yeah, he's awesome. That at-bat was maybe the best at-bat I've ever seen in my life.
Well, let's not forget about Barry Bonds and Eric Gagne.
That was good too.
Yeah, Soto just was so he was digging the whole at bat, you know? He was just so jacked. Yeah, it was cool to watch. But like Chris said, good for baseball. Yankees?
Yeah, I'll go with the Yankees. I like Stanton. Stanton needs one. We all want to pick a player that wants one.
I kind of like your Game 7 play.
Yeah.
I liked your 7 games though. That's ideal.
Yeah, give us 7 games.
Absolutely,
yeah, that's what we need.
Let's talk WNBA. I know we'd be talking WNBA on this. I never thought I'd be talking about WNBA ever, but we are. Besides Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx. Is it Minneapolis, Minnesota Lynx? For the WNBA championship in 5 games. Raise your hand if you watched. Am I the only one? Okay. Who cares about it? Okay, so we got
cool.
one. We got 2 of us, and Maddie's 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
2.5 out of 5. I'll take that. It's 50%. If you're not watching the WNBA, I totally get it. I mean, for a long time, I just did not care about this. I think it's actually getting more coverage, which is probably good for the sport. I don't even think it's Caitlin Clark initially. I think ESPN actually put more, games on, that kind of thing. And then Caitlin Clark just took it to a whole nother level. They just came out of their own CBA, so it'd be interesting. I bet they're thinking we can make a lot more money, which they probably should, considering the hype that it's gone to now. Hayden, why do you care? Why do you care about it now?
It's just one more sport to watch. I mean, the only issue that I run into is obviously very new to the WNBA. I don't know when their season is, and I don't know why their season is when it is. I had no idea that the finals were happening, and obviously it's my own fault. I can pick up the internet and figure that out, but I saw no publicity about it. I didn't nothing. Instagram, Twitter, nothing got into my feed about the WNBA finals that were happening. So that's kind of a bummer. But I mean, I love Caitlin Clark. She's electric. She's fun to watch. And I love that she's on a Midwest team. I mean, it could be interesting. The gameplay could be a little bit better quality, but whatever.
It's way more physical than I thought it was. That's what I've been pleasantly surprised about. I'm way more physical, and these guys can shoot. I mean, the last game didn't show it. Game 5 was it was pretty crappy for viewers. In fact, I think
these
one of the
second can shoot.
These gals, I'll be politically correct. These gals can shoot. Thank you, Aiden. You're
Yeah,
putting me
it's
in
not great
That's
when
good.
literally one of the best players in the league and one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, Sabrina Ionescu, goes 1 for 19 in
Yeah.
the deciding game of the finals. Not
Yeah.
great for sure.
Not great. Yeah. Chris, Brian, not into it. You have a thought why? Too many other sports.
Oh, did you not see my hand? My hand was up.
Too many other
Maybe
things
I
going on.
froze again.
Oh,
You
3.5.
probably froze.
We had 3.5. Okay, Chris, you're not into it. Tell us why you're not.
I mean, I just watch it for the star power. If Caitlin Clark was playing, I probably would tune in. But like the Game 7 or Game 5 the other night was at the same time as the Dodgers Mets game and at the same time as the Jets Steelers game, so it was not going to take precedence over those.
The WNBA really screwed themselves by scheduling these finals games to go against football and baseball. Like they really, really like this game should have been, either tonight or tomorrow night, or Game 5 of the finals for sure.
Chris, what can they do to make you more interested?
More teams. They need more teams.
Well,
They do.
No, more teams and marketing. I've talked about this with friends before. Like they don't market their star players well enough. And yeah, I mean, Maddie totally hit it on the head. And Hayden, and it adds into your point. Like, why is their season when it is? Like, why not go like have a season that your finals is in February or something, like some other like part of the year where it's kind of a dead zone where I think people would tune in. Wrong time of the year. I think for a lot of folks. And yeah, when you're trying to compete against other sports, World Series stuff, you got football, prime time. Yeah, not good at all.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit there, From. What I'll
Yeah,
say
we
is
lost.
Right.
the
That's
marketing matters.
I think
Sorry,
they
Fred.
should. I think they should run the finals like over the All-Star week of the NBA.
That would be
But
sick.
then you kind of butt into the college season, and the way that it kind of works is that the college
That's
players
totally.
get done.
I mean, I don't think you can. College football and college during the NFL play at the same. I mean, I understand it's Friday or Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, but I don't think a professional sports league should be trying to compete against college stuff. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know if it would. It's hard because there are two different classes of sport, I suppose. But
Yeah, I think you guys said a number of things. More teams, different time of season. If you had your championship in July, that's like kind of the dead zone. You have baseball going on, but people would tune into other stuff.
isn't
I
that
think
the
that's
NBA
what you would
championship
do.
too?
No, NBA is in
That's
June.
June.
Oh, June.
Yeah.
So you get
That's
some of that
honestly
overlap.
So stupid. I wish that the NBA. This is an aside. I wish that the NBA's championship was in July, because when the Bucks won it in 2021, it was in July because the COVID season delayed the start of that season, so they didn't start until December, which is honestly my preferred starting time for the NBA, because then you only have a couple months of the NFL season that you have to contend with, and then you have March through July where you are kind of it, and nobody really cares that much about early season baseball. I honestly hate that the NBA moved back to its regular season schedule.
Well, nobody cares about regular season NBA either, so I don't really know.
I do. So
This is a great segue. The NBA starts Tuesday, everybody. The NBA starts Tuesday. 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the best, the most excited. How excited are you for the season? We've already got 2 slight answers here. Frem, just give me a number.
I'll give it a 8. I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
I'm excited
Maddie?
for basketball to be like.
10 out of 10.
Hayden.
I'll give it a 6. Bronny James is in the league.
Loves LeBron's son. That's great. Chris? And he's the one that wanted the fantasy
Ouch.
basketball.
And that extra 1 is because I'm in the fantasy league.
I'm going to give it a 4. The Bulls are horrible, but I'll give it a 4 because I like the NBA. I got a lot of crap for that in college. I'm glad that some of you have come around. Yeah, it's starting, though, Tuesday, so check in. I'm a Bolts fan. That this means nothing for me this year. If you're a Bucks fan, you have something to look forward to. You need Chris Middleton to get healthy, I think, though. So you need
Correct.
that to happen. We just did an NBA fantasy draft. A lot of chatter pre-podcast around the rules. A lot of chatter around that. I just want to give a shout out to Luke Hiltman, former student at Front Range Christian School, currently at East Tennessee State as part of their football program. Pretty cool. He's the one running the league. Chris Smith is our sensei in terms of fantasy leagues. We all look to him. We even bow down to him, some of us. Luke Hiltman is like in the infantile stages of Chris Smith. He's the protege. And so Chris had a lot of different opinions about the rules, kind of liked it. So we just did the draft before this. Points league. Not categories, but points. We're all a little disappointed by that, but that's fine. Just tell me who your favorite player that you drafted. We're not going to go a ton into it, but the favorite player that you drafted. Fran, we'll start with you.
Yeah, somehow I get the number one pick. Wembenyama.
If we can hear you. Yeah,
can you hear me?
There's a lot of thought in that.
Can you hear me now?
Grayson McGrady.
That was wild. Okay, we'll come back to you, Fran.
Come back to me.
Get your tech figured out. Matty G, you came into the draft late. You changed the draft order, which Chris Smith was pretty upset about.
Oh,
Sorry,
not
Slim.
happy.
Brian just dropped. He said Wemby,
He did.
by the way, for anybody that
Okay.
cared. Wemby.
Okay.
Because why not?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if taking 3 Bucks players was a good idea, but we'll see. We'll see.
Do you have a favorite out of the Bucks players?
I mean, it's got to be Dame. He looks like he's in great shape coming into the season after, summer of the 2023 summer was kind of in flux because he was, on the trading block with the Trailblazers and didn't know where he was going to go, didn't know if he was actually going to get traded. He finally gets traded the day before the Bucks training camp was set to start. And yeah, he just did not. He was fine last year, but he wasn't all NBA caliber Dame Lillard. And I think that he's going to find that quality again this season.
Chris, what
Not
about
in
you?
draft.
Yeah, sorry, Hayden.
My favorite pick
It's all
was
good.
my second round pick, Scotty Barnes. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar this year. I was contemplating taking him in round 1, but I knew he'd make it back, so I waited. He is incredible. He plays both ends of the floor really well. And my draft strategy this year was just take a bunch of guys that aren't going to rest. Like, just a bunch of guys that are going to play as many games as possible. So Scotty Barnes, he'll be a first-round pick starting next year. I'm pretty confident in that.
For me, it's Miles Bridges. I know he's not the best dude in the world. I just want to put that out there. But where I got him and his play, and I'm just going to hope that he's remorseful for his actions. Yeah, he's a very, very good player. And he came back and played very, very well. And where I got him in the draft, I feel very, very good. So while definitely not the best dude, but by far my best pick, I think. A lot of my guys are could be injury prone. Davis is my first pick. I'm nervous about it, but I feel pretty confident about Miles Bridges being a very, very good player from where I got him. Player, you had to do it. You had to draft him. Maybe you're against the clock a little bit. Who knows? But you hated drafting, and who's that player?
Hey, he's so supremely talented and really, really good at basketball. But every time that Ja Morant goes up for a layup, it scares the living crap out of me because he goes up with no freaking fear into 3 or 4 defenders and looks like he takes a fall that, would break an ankle or tear an ACL every other game. So I am hopeful that he is going to be really, really good again this year and have a bounce back year. But I am very, very nervous that I might have just drafted a guy who's only going to play 50 or 55 games.
Yeah, for me, it's Tyler Hero. I hate him because he shunned Wisconsin when he was a recruit. And now he's, again, super talented, but just doesn't seem like he ever wants to play. And when he does, he just chucks up like 25 shots a game, misses most of them. So in these league settings, I'm not sure if he'll actually be good, but I got him late. So it is what it is.
Yeah, he's just not a very good fantasy player because he really only gives you points. He doesn't really give you assists, rebounds, or steals or blocks.
Fran, welcome back.
It's good to be back. I love internet. I'm gonna pick it up, Hayden. Wemby, that was my best pick, and I don't know who I missed 2 picks. That's what I'm sad about. I had a couple auto picks in there. LaMelo Ball, he's gonna be injured the entire season. It was an auto pick.
I love LaMelo. But if you feel sad, draft him. I'm a biggest fan of LeVar, but
I'll trade him to you in his ACL that he's gonna tear probably.
Yeah, we could do that.
He's an injury boy today.
For me, my favorite or my least favorite was Darius Garland. And yeah,
you'll have to mute when other people are talking.
We'll see how that works.
There we go.
Yeah, I didn't need to do it, but I was a bit rushed on the clock. And he's still a very good player. He's just in a bad situation with Donovan Mitchell in particular. And so, yeah, it's not a great feeling. But, yeah, had to draft him. But, yeah, it should be a good season. It should be fun doing NBA fantasy. It's been a couple years for me. I know some people have stuck with it in here. But, Chris, did you do it last year?
No, I did not last year.
Okay, so, all of us have taken a hiatus. Some of us are new to this. So it should be pretty fun. Chris, yeah, you have something about fantasy basketball for us. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're all super excited for the season to start. So we want to talk about our good friends at Quirk Draft, where we believe the secret to fantasy sports greatness lies in the most unexpected stats. Tired of traditional metrics or analytics? Let's draft your team based on unusual traits, favorite snack foods, or even the name of their first pet. Ever thought a player's love for pineapple pizza could impact their shooting accuracy? We do. With our unique algorithm, you'll discover hidden gems like the blonde sharpshooter from Iowa or the point guard who can recite all 50 states backwards. Join our weekly podcast for wild player comparisons and debates on whether someone's high school nickname gives them an edge. So forget the boring analytics. Let's get weird and win big with Quirk Draft. Quirk Draft. No, fantasy sports are not random. You're just looking at the wrong stats.
Speaking of a quirky top 5, speaking of something that you wouldn't expect as a viewer. Wait, Hayden, did you have a thought here?
It was not the ad that I was looking at on the original sheet that you printed out.
It was not, yeah.
You need to learn more about Quirk Draft then, obviously. Hey, we have a kind of a quirky top 5 here. This is inspired by Heather Smith. That's Heather Smith special. This is something that most of us has done, I believe. What is your top 5 favorite things to do at the pumpkin patch? And if you notice my name here, it says loves pumpkin patches, where the D4 respondent, I think, doesn't love them. Chris, do you have a thought before we get into the top 5?
I kind of have a hot take on the pumpkin patch before we get started. And I don't want to rain on the parade, but I don't think anyone actually likes the pumpkin patch.
Wow.
You see a lot of sad faces when you're there. You hear a lot of crying. A lot of times it's hot, so people just look miserable. So I'm not sure if it's actually a cool thing, let alone like something that people just think they have to do because it's October.
What pumpkin patch are you going to?
I feel offended.
Sad faces and crying.
Yes.
My God.
I have seen some sad faces at the pumpkin patch, to be fair. Okay, well, let's get into it. There's a lot we can digest here. Let's start with Slim Smitty himself. Why not? Tell us your top 5, or do you want to wait? So we go the regular route here.
I feel like I took some airtime. I can wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go the regular route. Frem Dizzle, start us out. Do you know what you want to say, Frem?
He's froze again. Don't forget
can you hear me now?
He's done. It's over.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we'll go to the flame.
Yikes.
The flame has something to say about the pumpkin.
Okay, he's kind of back, but not really.
Okay, so
back,
we all mute our
right.
mics and let Brian talk.
Yeah, let's all mute and let Brian talk. Okay, we're gonna mute in 3.
Can you hear me? Fabulous. Not that you want to hear me, but I'm going to give you my top 5 pictures. I have it 5. You got to take a good old picture at the pumpkin patch. A good old hayride. Who doesn't love getting their back out of place on a hayride? Donuts and cider must go together. The pumpkins. You actually have to go home with a pumpkin if you're going to go to a pumpkin patch. Picking that out is key. And then the old stand around and drink. It's probably the best one because I think Chris is right. I don't think people actually want to be there once they're there. It's about a half-hour activity, and then you get pretty sad, and you're like, why are we here? And Wisconsin weather, if you live in Wisconsin, it is warm in October now. It is no longer like crisp, like football weather right now. So it's warm, and it's hot. And you can't wear a sweatshirt anymore. You have to wear a T-shirt and shorts. So, yeah, thanks for muting. Now maybe I'll let you all take it from here.
Yeah, that was a good top 5. Unexpected. I agree with it. You have to get a pumpkin at the pumpkin patch if you go.
I thought
That's
you'd
like
have a
a
little more
necessary.
love for the pumpkin patch, Brian. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, his number 1 there was a little controversial, but Maddie?
Well, I might have a controversial number 1 potentially, but started out number 5, the good old petting zoo. Gotta have it. Brooke suggested this one. Walking around with my wife while she takes forever to pick out the right pumpkin. I want to say we came home with 8 or 9 pumpkins from the pumpkin patch this year, in addition to a couple of gourds.
Wow.
Because 1 or 2 just wasn't enough, of course.
It's a lot of
This is
pumpkins. It's a lot.
You got to have different colors. I mean, you got to have a white one, you got to have a green one, you got to have a couple oranges, you got to, there's a couple different colors. You got to have the ones with the warts on them. Like, you can get a wide variety of pumpkins. That's
Variety
for sure.
pack.
This is my own personal favorite is looking at the vegetables that they have for purchase. So typically, they've got the fresh onions, they got some hot peppers, whatever. You can kind of get some good fresh stuff at the pumpkin patches for sure. Number 2, sampling all the snacks, caramel apples, apple cider, food trucks, etc. And lastly, this I have only done at Schwertle Family Farms in Trempealeau, Wisconsin. They have a bar at their pumpkin patch, an outdoor bar with TVs, and I have watched a Packer game before at Schwertle Family Farms. So if you ever make it over there, fantastic, Saturday, Sunday activity to do. And
So we've had alcohol for the number 1 twice now. Sorry.
And there's an awesome apple orchard right down the road called Ecker's Apple Orchard. And that is also a very, very adult-friendly apple orchard with a bar.
For sure,
Good
I've been to
times.
both of those places.
Good times, yeah.
You described.
They're right next door to each other. So
Yeah.
I mean, you do one and the other for sure.
All right. I stuck me and Roster here. We have the state number 5, the feeding the animals, petting zoo. I don't know if anybody's ever been to like PEX, in the arena area, but they have they have like a goat jungle gym, and you can they have like a little pulley system where you put the goat feed in a bucket and then you pulley it up to like a 25-foot platform that these goats walk up, and then they eat the food on the top of the goat platform. It's pretty cool, pretty sweet. Photo ops for sure, because if I'm going to a pumpkin patch, I'm with my wife, and that's what we're definitely getting photo ops, which is great. The fall colors are beautiful. I'm usually got on something real nice, mainly like this camo Patagonia or Columbia one, or something else, flannel. Really get into the festive season. Also, too, there are so many pumpkin patches. I like the fact that you can support local farms and local businesses. People that sell honey, people that sell vegetables that Gardner loves to just admire so much when he goes to pumpkin patches, just staring at, eggplants, zucchinis, and cucumbers and stuff like that. So I do love the shop. I do love the shop local aspect of the...
So good.
Obviously, It's a pumpkin patch. The main reason to go is to get a pumpkin. I put that at number 2 because if you're going to a pumpkin patch that doesn't have a corn maze in it, you're doing something wrong. Corn maze is awesome. They always do something cool for like extra where it's not just like go in the entrance, come out the exit. They have like punch cards where you got to go find different stations and you got to figure out the clues to figure out which way to go. So it's a pretty cool activity to do. It's a great date night. And also, if you're a husband out there, pick a Saturday or a Friday evening to go to the pumpkin patch. You don't have to go on Sunday. Like, don't go on Sunday. Go other days. It makes more sense. For sure. Don't miss football because of a pumpkin patch.
How do you follow that? That was incredible. You
Yeah, that
shouldn't
was
miss
really good.
football for the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, that was so good.
Phil, do you want to be last? We're going to let you take this home. So my number 5 is sack slides. So if you ever go on slides and you sit on the sack, it makes you go faster. It just enhances the experience of the slide. 4 random yard games. Every pumpkin patch has these, like, I don't know, throw the ring into the hole. You have your cornhole and stuff, but there's all these random outdoor farm games that you just can't get anywhere else. 3, I've been to a couple pumpkin patches with this tricycle racing. So they have all these tricycles out and you ride around. I do that for competitive sport. I don't care what ages the people are out there. I'm out there to win on the tricycles. 2 is the corn maze. Hayden, you nailed it. It's all about the corn maze. And if you have it at night, it's 10 times better. And my number 1, controversial, but it is the parking lot, because it is the only place at the pumpkin patch where they're not going to take money from you. You get there, it's free. You leave, it doesn't cost you anything, but everywhere in between is just, you're just gouging at your eyes and at your wallet. So love the parking lot. And it means
my mind is blown.
Better be free parking.
You pay the opening
better
fee.
Not go to any super fancy parking lots.
You go early in the morning and you pay the opening fee, and that's all you got to try to pay. At least, unless besides the pumpkin. That's just my take.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say the parking lot's the only place I can have a beer. And I was going to be like, Schmitty, I didn't expect that from
That's where I
you.
thought he was going to.
That makes sense now.
Wait, real quick, Phil. There's an opening fee at the pumpkin patches that you go to?
Well, you pay for the ticket. You pay for the ticket to get in. That's what it's about for me.
Man, I've never had to pay a ticket at a pumpkin patch before. I don't know what pumpkin patches you're going to.
Yeah, you guys are going to some weird pumpkin patches.
Denver, Colorado. Yeah, it's different, dude. Unfortunately.
Do they even grow pumpkins in Colorado? Or they got to ship those in?
Nope,
no, they do.
They grow them there. They grow them there. But let's get to my top 5, though, because I got a lot to say here. I just want to point out number 5 is also the picturesque, putting your head in the type of display. I can't say it, but I mean, it's for the kids mostly. But if you do it with your kids, it's kind of fun, and also it makes the wife happy. Number 4, corn maze. I like the corn maze, but every time I go into it, my kids, they complain the whole time. And you have to lift. If I have a stroller with them, it's hard to push it through all of it. But then I have to lift it up if I go over. They have those bridges or whatever. That's why it's number 4 for me.
Teach your kids how to walk.
We're working on that. We're working on it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, it was funny. Even better with zombies at night. So you can do paintball in the corn with zombies. That's pretty sick. So number 3, petting zoo, because petting zoos are cool. Let's be honest. We don't live on farms anymore. We don't pet animals besides our domestic pets, and that's cool, but it's not the same as petting a goat, like you guys said. It's not the same as petting other cool animals or being around them. So I'm in for that. 2, the hayride. I actually genuinely like the hayride. I want to go on the hayride with my kids and just kind of chill. That's the only time most of the time I'm sitting at the pumpkin patch is then. Give me the break. Get me on the hayride. I like that. And then number 1. Maybe you don't have this in Wisconsin, but I've been to a couple that have I'm just looking at Chris's face. He's so unimpressed by it, which is understandable. Number 1, the pumpkin cannons. These things can launch pumpkins 200 feet, which are it's kind of awesome. And they have like somebody like recording it or like emceeing the whole event. It's pretty cool. So that's
Are they just slingshots or
yes?
What are these? Okay,
They're like
I was confused by the cannon.
They're like CO2
Or it's
pressure.
like a potato gun. So it's like a potato gun, but with a pumpkin.
It's like a potato gun, but for pumpkins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like full-size
That's kinda
pumpkins?
Cool. Full-size pumpkins, man.
Damn.
Wow.
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
sick.
It's
That's
kind of
fun.
sick.
I could get down with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so pumpkin patches are cool. Chris, did you have a final thought on pumpkin patches?
I mean, I think Hayden said it best. Just don't go on Sundays.
It's as
Busy
simple as
Avoid
that.
Sundays.
Yeah, it's just
It really is.
That's good advice.
Simple
Hayden.
as that.
I'm gonna take that next year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's learn
Also,
more
you-
about pumpkin patches here from our
Have you all-
sponsor.
Have you all
sorry.
been to pumpkin patches already this year? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. Like, it's a little early, right? Like, pumpkins, especially with how hot it is, like, pumpkins die in the heat. Why would you want to buy a pumpkin already?
I already went this year.
Yeah, we checked
Yeah,
that box
same.
off yesterday.
Let's go, like, the week of Halloween. Or, like, the week, like, go on, like, when there's 8 days until Halloween. Carve pumpkins when there's 7 days until Halloween. That way you get more life out of the pumpkin, and it doesn't look like a droopy pile of soup by the time Halloween rolls around.
I mean, it's pretty fair. If we get pumpkins early where we live, the squirrels eat them. So
Yeah, that
can't
too.
even carve them, really.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Dang
Gardner,
squirrels.
tell us more about pumpkin patches, though. We have a sponsor
You
associated
got
with
it.
pumpkin patches, and I love those. So
This podcast is sponsored by Pumpkin Patch Playhouse. This fall, skip the boring and dive into the fun at Pumpkin Patch Playhouse. Get lost in our corn maze of confusion. It's like a family therapy session with more laughter. Hop on our scenic hay rides where even the pumpkins might start posing for selfies and let the kids unleash their inner Picassos in our pumpkin painting zone. Join our gobble gobble games for sack races and pumpkin tossing that'll have everyone in stitches. And don't forget to indulge in our apple cider donuts. Holy good. And caramel apples stickier than your kids' hands after Halloween. Bring the whole family for a day of fall fun and grab your tickets online to make this autumn a pumpkin spice dream come true. Thank you, Pumpkin Patch Playhouse.
well, that's a perfect way to end.
What did you type in to get that ad?
Go to the pumpkin
That was
patch
fantastic.
Playhouse. Go to your local pumpkin patch. Obviously, according to them, just hang out in the parking lot. Maybe have a beer there. You know, if you have to walk in, buy a pumpkin at least, and don't go on Sunday. That feels like what we came to. Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Twitter or the X. Thank you, Elon. Also find us on Facebook or Spotify. I think the only person that's commented is my brother. So we want more comments from you. And they're not bad comments. But go Packers. Thank you again for listening. See you guys next week. See you guys later.